So a lot of folks have been asking how I care for my plants when I'm gone for a month at a time. Just kidding, no one in the history of ever has asked, but it's travel related, so let's talk about it. So at my last count, I currently have 65 plants. This ranges from my little fledgling propagations to my oldest plant that I've managed to keep alive for 16 years. These plants are my babies and I am fully emotionally attached, so I do everything that I can to keep them healthy and happy while I'm gone. The first step of vacation plant care is a deep watering. I live in Las Vegas where humidity is a figment of the imagination, so it is a battle to keep the soil from becoming bone dry and the leaves from withering. To give my loves a fighting chance of survival, I take every plant that I can lift outside for a plant shower. For the plants that are too large to be easily moved, I top water with a watering can. But the key is to soak them through. Once the water pools in the tray below the plant, I use a turkey baster to pull out excess water. You do not want to leave that water sitting in the tray. It is a recipe for soggy roots, fungus gnats, and mildew in your plant. The rest of them get a thorough hose down. The benefit of this, aside from making sure that your soil is moist, is that you get to rinse any dust from the leaves. Plus, they all enjoy a little direct sunlight. Now, if the weather is below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, I'll put the plants in my bathtub for a shower. I'm doing this in the summer in Vegas, which means that they need to be rinsed and inside by 8:30 a.m. at the latest. By 9 a.m., we're in the 90s, and that is too warm for the plants to sit outside. It is shocking to me the level of soil and dead leaves that end up on my shelf during regular waterings and daily life. But while all the plants are enjoying some direct sun and drainage, this is the perfect opportunity to clean up the shelving. A little vacuuming and wipe down will make the space feel like new again. While I'm gone, I use the Blue Mat water stake system to self-water my plants. This involves slowly siphoning water from a reservoir into the soil. The watering stake is made of two parts. First, the clay cone that sits in the soil and slowly releases water. Clay is porous and will let out about 50 to 150 milliliters in a 24-hour period. And second, you have a hose that pulls water from the secondary container. First, we need to soak the ceramic bases for at least 15 minutes. The key to filling the water stakes correctly is to place the cap on under the water. This ensures that there are no air pockets in the stake. The next key is to look at the end of the hose for air bubbles being pushed out. Keep on removing the cap and putting it back on until there are no more bubbles. Then you know that the water will flow from the reservoir into the plant with no problems. Do one more check to make sure that you do not see any pockets of air. Then you're ready to keep the end in water. Now I just repeat this process 39 more times with all of these. So these are fantastic for my smaller plants, but for my bigger plants, I need a bigger stake. These are terracotta water spikes that can hold up to a 1.5 liter wine bottle. For most of my plants, that's enough to hold 3 weeks of water. While prepping these to be soaked, I noticed that one of them had a massive crack in it. Thankfully, I had bought a pack of 20. While the spikes are soaking, we're going to prepare our water containers. Any plastic or glass bottle or jar will do. During the summer growing season, I like to add some all-purpose plant food to the jars. Don't overdo it with the plant food, it can burn your leaves. Just about a tablespoon is more than enough. And while I do love the aesthetic glass jars, I have found that for my plant shelf, nothing beats a gallon bottle. We're now ready to place our stakes into the plants. As you're doing this, be gentle. You do not want to rip through your roots with the plant stake. The jar that you choose to hold the water should be about level with the edge of your pot. If it's lower than the rim of the pot, it will let less water up. If it's much taller, it will give the plant more water. But at about level, it gives 100 milliliters per day. Also make sure that the hose touches the bottom of whatever container that you use. If the water level gets below the hose, it will not allow any more water into your plant. These plants are small enough that all 5 of them can drink out of the same gallon jug without using up all of the water. That did not go my way. I've chosen to fill up the terracotta stakes with water because I want to make sure that I have as much water as I possibly can before I go. This way, we're not starting with a bottle that's already missing about 1/8 of water. After placing 40 small water stakes and 13 large plant spikes, we're ready for final decorative touches. And if you're thinking that number doesn't equal 65, my remaining plants are different types of cactus and aloe vera that I'll do a deep watering before I go, and then once more when I return at the end of being gone for a month. My living room has tons of natural light, but my office needs some help. I have 5 sets of plant lights that have the options of running on a 3, 9, or 12-hour timer. I've opted for 12 hours. The plant lights are clutch, but the dangly cords can be a little bit unsightly. So I picked these up to help with my cord management. It just consists of removing this red sticker on the back so that it can stick to the top or side of your shelf, and then hooking the cord through and organizing it. Voila, no more dangly cords. Much better. I did all of this 1 week before I left because I wanted to verify if the containers I used were big enough. You can see that these 2 plants have drank nearly all of the water, so they're each going to get their own container that's a little bit larger. These 4 plants were way too much for this single bottle, so instead they're going to use a gallon container next. This pothos used a little over a third of the water bottle, which is about enough. As long as my plants can last up to 3 weeks, then they do 1 week of no water and I water them when I return. So I feel pretty comfortable with where these are.